My name is Anat Ben Salmon. I'm 39 years old, mother of three. I have been practicing as a psychotherapist and parental counselor for the past 14 years and have been a teacher of professional practice for the past 10 years. For the past 13 years, I have conducted a research process investigating my professional psychotherapy practice. I have fulfilled the requirements of the program and have produced practical outcomes which are being extensively applied in the field. However, I had to overcome many challenges which prevented me from finishing my work and being examined on it, while I was never provided with justified reasons for the implementation of these challenges. Over this period of 13 years, my three sets of supervisors have persistently expressed their satisfaction with my work and my academic capabilities, and I have submitted work in accordance with all my deadlines. Nevertheless, I have been on a roller coaster of ups and downs since I began my doctoral studies. Ups, when my research has progressed, I produced outcomes I developed professionally, and my supervisors praised me. My last supervisor actually did this up till 3 hours before terminating my studies in December 2019 with no prior warning. And downs, when my last two sets of supervisors behaved in a manner which defied the regulations of research ethics and good academic scientific practice, and my studies were repeatedly terminated for reasons unrelated to my academic performance. Moreover, on most of these occasions, I have not been provided with coherent reasons which justified such behavior towards me. Having worked and progressed well in my original Israeli based supervisor for 5 years, the problem began in 2012. At that time, my supervisor left his role in the university, and my studies were terminated with the entire group of Israeli students due to technical administrative nature of the university. We were only reinstated following offer my practice partner and co-researcher appealed to a large number of university staff, and we were allocated with a Derby-based supervisor. For the next 2 years since then, I made good progress in my research and had an excellent supervisory interaction with my new supervisor. However, despite the fact he is a well-known advocate on academic freedom, he refused to allow me to present and proceed with the expanded focus of my research to the investigation on collaborative research process based on professional dialogue, which I had conducted with offered over the years. My supervisor had been well aware of my ongoing dialogue with offer and how I had developed professionally from it. I explained that the main outcome of my research had been extracted from the long dialogical process which I had conducted with offer rather than from the methodological approach and focus of self-disclosure which I had been working on until that stage from the beginning. The new presentation plan exhibited my professional academic development, which is a requirement of such research, and I also committed myself to meeting my set submission deadline, despite the expansion of my presentation. Nevertheless, my supervisor refused my request. When forced to choose between my doctoral award and my obligations as an ethical researcher and my professional integrity, I chose to stay loyal to my professional ethics as a therapist and as well as my integrity as a researcher. I requested to replace my supervisor, but this was refused. I was prevented from submitting my dissertation by my deadline, being unable to do so without a supervisor, and this led to the termination of my studies for the second time. During that time, I began to develop symptoms of a physical illness. For months after this, being forced to put my research on hold, I underwent bureaucratic procedures in order to achieve my basic right to complete my studies and be examined on my research, and this without success. In September 2016, I participated in mediation process during which for the first time the university staff finally acknowledged the collaborative research process based on a dialogue which we had conducted since the outset of our doctoral studies. This recognition enabled both Offer and I to resume our studies with new supervisors in 2017. For 2 years since then, my new supervisors were supportive, and I was able to make significant progress towards the completion of my dissertation and my professional development. The health symptoms which appeared in 2015 gradually worsened, and at this time I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which necessitated treatment with methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy treatment, on a weekly basis. The staff overseeing my studies granted me extensions in light of my deteriorating health condition. The positive atmosphere of my studies compensated for the previous experience at the university, and I was led to feel that the completion of my doctoral studies was imminent and related to my academic achievements, as it should be. However, in July 2019, crucial events led to the breach of trust between myself and my supervisor. For 2 years, I worked on a certain topic, which was an important focus of my research, and discussed this topic with my director of studies on a number of occasions during the supervision meetings. Although he had recently extensively studied this topic himself and even published a book on it, when I specifically requested that he refer me to literature on this subject, he referred me to other authors. He never mentioned his involvement in the topic at this extent, and knowing his contribution could be crucial for me. I tried to get some kind of coherent explanation from my DOS for this behavior, but received unsatisfactory response from him as a researcher and as a supervisor. In October 2019, I wrote to a large number of senior staff asking them how I should relate to this situation, which is for me was not something that should have been happening in the university setting. While waiting for the answer, which I was told I would receive soon, I received a letter from a legal advisor of the university stating that my studies had been terminated. This occurred 3 hours after I had received the communication from my supervisors stating that they had appreciated my academic performance and hoped that we could continue working together despite my experience of the breach of trust between us. After acquiring this notification, 2 months later, I received a letter now stating that the CRC had decided to terminate my studies again, claiming that they are unable now to provide me with supervisors who are qualified to supervise my studies. This decision was made with absolutely no discussion with me or background provided in writing or otherwise. I have been unable to obtain any kind of coherent explanation from the staff. Following my GDPR request for data, until this day, I'm still waiting to receive the minutes made in the CRC meeting during which the staff decided to terminate me again, or details of the discussion that preceded the university legal advisor's notification to me. I've been practicing as a psychotherapist and parental counselor for the past 13 years. I have 50 graduates from my parental counseling course, and I teach and supervise a large number of trainees and professionals in Israel. I also fulfill a number of roles in my professional community and organizations. My family, friends, and huge number of professional colleagues are all aware that I have been struggling to achieve my doctoral award despite my physical illness. The events of the past 5 years have taken a grave toll on my health and caused me a lot of disappointment in conduct of academic staff, which I never imagined could be possible. However, academic accreditation for my training courses was the goal when I embarked on my doctoral studies and still is a priority today. In light of my professional integrity, I'm unable and also unwilling to abandon my research, which I worked on for more than 12 years, and I'm obliged to disseminate its practical outcomes, which I'm already utilizing extensively. My dissertation is close to completion, and if a progress is not made with the University of Derby, I will be obligated to turn to other channels to achieve my goal. I hope that in your senior role and as the authority on research at the University of Derby, you will be able to provide me with explanation and justification for the events that occurred and decisions that have been made that I can relate to and start to consider. I also hope that you will make the fair decision in my case regarding academic misconduct, research ethics, and professional integrity and enable me to complete my doctoral studies. I want to thank you for listening, and hopefully justice will come to a hand. Thank you.